Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video. Welcome to the very center of Moscow. Now today I thought go for a little walk around Red Square, and I thought we'd go in the very famous GUM department store, because right now it's flower season in Moscow and they should have some nice flower displays in there, I hope, and we'll go and check it out together. I think as I keep walking closer to Red Square, a lot of the things may look quite familiar. Now we are actually on the bridge as I'm walking towards St. Basil's Cathedral off in the distance. So there's a little bit of traffic. But have a look at all these flowers here that they put on the bridge. These are all real flowers, and they're actually on both sides of the bridge. Now when I originally came to Moscow a few hours ago, I crossed over the bridge off in the distance, and that also had flowers. And you can see the riverboats going by. Such a beautiful day. It's not too hot. Lots of people are out and about. Of course, the very famous walls of the Kremlin right in front of us here. And then you can see some of the spires of the different cathedrals inside as well. And then the very famous, or perhaps world famous, St. Basil's Cathedral off in the distance. We'll see that a little bit closer in a minute or two. And this is the aptly named Big Moscow Bridge. And I've caught it right at the change of the traffic light, so there's only a couple of cars going over. But such a beautiful spot. And we can perhaps just catch one of the boats going by right there. Beautiful day to take a cruise on the Moscow River. I think if you've ever watched the news where they do the live broadcast in Moscow, particularly on international news, they like to come to this exact spot right here on the bridge. And it's a great spot for a photo. And depending on the time of day here, you can get some nice photos looking back down the river. You can see the Church of Christ Our Savior off in the distance. Beautiful place. And then this red bricks that make up the walls of the Kremlin. And lots of people coming for photos exactly at this spot, because you've got such a beautiful view looking back up towards Red Square and the very famous cobblestones. Perhaps one of the most iconic views or landmarks in the very center of Moscow. Amazing. I've been here a few thousand times, and a lot of times I come, of course, without my camera. I just come for a walk. And you know, when you were young and you saw pictures or something on television, and to stand here in person, it's just as beautiful. You can see the Spassky Tower, which is the one with a clock on it, on the corner of the Kremlin there. And then where most people are going to from here is they're walking across the street to Zaradi Park. Now, I've done quite a few videos over there before, and we want to go and see GUM and have a look at the flowers there. So if you want to see a video of Zaradi Park, I'll put a card for you to check that out. Just have a look again. So beautiful. Actually today my plan was to go to a different park, and I went there a little bit earlier, and it wasn't as beautiful as I was expecting. And they actually have a Moscow 2030 expo that opened up yesterday, and the place or location that I went to just wasn't ready yet, so I'm going to wait another week to go back and make a video there. So I thought, why not come for a walk through the famous center of Moscow and have a look at Red Square. If you're wondering if they've got heavy security or somebody stopping me from just walking in, absolutely not. Actually today there is no events going on in the main part of Red Square. Just lots and lots of people taking lots and lots of photographs. We'll see that in a second or two. And then depending on what time of day, again, you get that beautiful look at the cathedral right there. And we'll see just how many people are out and about on Red Square today. I think quite a lot. Just looking at the few as I'm walking up there. Of course, I think the most photographed part of Red Square is St. Basil's Cathedral right here, and everybody wants to get a photograph from a different point or a different distance from it. You can see also the markings on the cobblestones when they hold the parade here once a year. These are the lines that they follow. Probably not as noticeable on television than when you come here in person and walk on the cobblestones. You can see the different colored markings that they've got. And then just lots of people just admiring this place. I can't imagine how many millions of photos per day are taken here. It would have to be a lot. This is where we want to go, right in front of us. This is GUM, probably the most famous shopping mall in Moscow, perhaps in all of Russia maybe. Someone can tell me somewhere more famous. Let me know in the comments. Lots of people just walking around, enjoying the day, trying to get that one perfect photo. It's really very quiet here as well. When you come into the center, all of the road noise goes away. You can literally almost hear people talking on the other side of the square. Let's have a look back again at the cathedral. Pretty much from any angle, it looks pretty amazing. Got that very beautiful blue sky today as well. It even makes it more dramatic. It really makes me smile a lot when I come here, because I remember 10 years ago, pretty much the very first time that I walked up the cobblestones towards Red Square, and my now wife told me, "Welcome to Russia," once we walked up the steep incline on the other side of where we are here. And that's where you know you're in Russia. You know, you can fly here, you can get out of the airport, go to the hotel or go to your house. But until you step on these cobblestones, I think that's when you then know that you're here, really in Russia. I always wonder if it's somebody's very first time coming here. Perhaps they're from another part of Russia. Maybe somebody's come from another country to visit for the first time. Then when you stand here and admire the buildings, it's really something else. You know, if you live in Moscow and you can easily come here any day of the week, maybe the beauty rubs off slowly, but it's just got some sort of special feeling every time you walk through here and just take in the views, have a look at all the people looking around, just like I am, really, and imagining some of the things that were here and some of the events. And then you have in the middle of the square a lady doing perhaps some dance. Oh, good timing for the church bells to ring, or at least on Spassky Tower. Good timing. Coming into view is the State Historical Museum, and this is a place you could spend the entire day very easily walking through and having a look at some of the history of Russia and what was USSR. It's really an amazing place to go to. It's not a place that you just want to go for an hour or two, because it's just so big, and you can literally just wander through and spend hours admiring it. Just in front of us is Lenin's mausoleum. Now, it's not open today. It's only open a few hours per day on a few days of the week as well. I've actually made a how to find Lenin's mausoleum video on my channel. Some more people taking selfies. The other thing too, pay attention to how everybody is dressed and how everybody looks. Maybe I stand out from everybody and I'm not always looking my best. Beautiful. The outside of GUM is just something else. It's really huge walk-through shopping mall, and we're going to see inside in a minute the glass roof that it's got over the top of it. I think most people that actually come up to Red Square come through the arches right in front of me here and through from Alexander Garden. I decided to come from the other direction because I think it's also beautiful as well, and to walk over the bridge, this very famous archway that you can pass under, and then Sberbank Street will be off in the distance, which is one of the roads that lead you away from the very center of Moscow. And then I never know what's in this building. I think it might just be an extension of the museum. And then we have the Kazan Cathedral right here. So many churches in the center of Moscow and all over Russia. You don't have to go too far to find one. And what we want to see is the beautiful flower displays. Now, GUM shopping center, which we'll walk through eventually, does different things seasonally. And right now, flower season, you can see all of this temporary gardens that they set up, and it wraps around the entire building. And nice, easy place to get photos. This in front of me here is the famous Nikolskaya Street, perhaps made quite famous back during the 2018 World Cup. These lights were put up for that, and they've stayed ever since. And they become very iconic, particularly in the evenings, where they start flickering away. Everybody wants a photo with these lights hanging down. And just have a look how beautiful all these flowers are. And this is all real. I mean, right from where we started the video to this point, we've got fresh flowers everywhere. Something a little bit interesting. Now, this is probably maybe considered maybe the most expensive piece of real estate in Moscow. And this used to be the Louis Vuitton store, this corner location right here. And you couldn't ever actually walk through those doors. You could only enter from the opposite side. And then what they have now is they have the team store for Dynamo football club. And you can go in and buy a t-shirt or a souvenir. So perhaps the owner of GUM must be a Dynamo fan if he's allowed them to take Louis Vuitton's coveted corner spot right here. The actual entire walk around the building is covered by flowers. Perhaps might be a bit of a long video if I was to cover all of them. We'll head on inside in a minute or two. You can see the amount of people here on Nikolskaya Street. And it's a very well-known walking street in the center of Moscow. No traffic passing through here. Quite a few souvenir shops, lots of cafes. There's really nowhere practical to come shopping here, especially if you live in Moscow. You generally just come for a walk and enjoy the moment. They do also have quite a lot of the traditional Russian souvenir shops. And I really do wonder who shops in these stores. With tourism being quite low at the moment in Russia, I wonder how they can survive. And this would be an expensive place to rent. Maybe some other Russian tourists come to get some fridge magnets, maybe. Really not sure. As the sun's gone in a little bit, you can get that look of the lights from here now. And people just literally hanging around trying to get that perfect photograph. Let's make our way inside the shopping center and have a look. Maybe we'll even see some of the Western brands that are meant to have left Russia and whether they're still here. Now, the one thing I still haven't made a video on is these historical toilets. And there's some very famous bathrooms down these steps right here. And it's probably the most expensive toilet in Russia to use. So if anyone would like to see a separate video for that, there is the option to use the toilet. And there's also a shower option as well. And for 1,000 rubles, or just about $10, you can come and have a shower in a shopping center. So someone might want to make a donation to the channel to see that video. Now, if you're wondering what everybody's lining up for here, probably GUM, beyond the fact that it's a shopping center, the most famous thing that's known about this shopping center is their ice cream. And they have these little ice cream booths that you see, and we'll notice quite a few of them. And the ice cream is about $1.50. It's gone up. It used to be $1. And people literally queue up for it endlessly because it's a very beautifully made ice cream. And I think that the revenue of this shopping center, about 90% of it must come from ice cream sales. And we'll look at the roof, and then we can see all the different flowers inside. Beautiful place. Now, no matter which direction I walk, we're going to come across these lines for the ice cream. And everybody's patiently waiting to get served. And it's not really, you know, the fact that it's only $1.50 for ice cream. And that's not a problem at all. I think it's just, when you come to GUM, you've got to have the famous ice cream. Of course, I'm just waiting for the comments to start getting written under this video that there's no shoppers, no one's got a bag, there's nobody in the stores, and I can completely vouch for that. I mean, this particular shopping center does have shoppers, but it's a very niche shopping center to come to. I mean, I would be very realistic in saying everybody that lives in Moscow, who lives in another part of Moscow like I do, we've got a shopping center where we live. We don't necessarily have to come to the center to come to this shopping mall to find even a lot of the stores here. These are a lot of very normal stores. There's a few high-end ones, but you know, there are shoppers here. I mean, we just have to see if I can spot some. Walking along a little bit further, I've made it to the very center of the shopping center, and this fountain is probably one of the most known spots if you've been here before and walked through. Again, lots of people here for ice cream. Such a beautiful place. So there's 3 alleys that make up this shopping center, and originally it was 3 streets, and then what they did was they decided to put the roof over the top and cover it over and make it into a enclosed shopping center. Now, depending on when you come during the year here, they've actually got different things in this water fountain, and this is where they're keeping all of the watermelons. And we'll see just across there, there's a little table set up selling cups of sliced watermelon and I think maybe sliced pineapple. But how cool is this spot? And there's a few walk bridges where they've actually got cafes set up as well. You can see one right at the top there. If you come here at Christmas time, where we see the flowers now in summer, they'd actually have Christmas trees set up. And what they do is all of the different stores in the shopping center are able to decorate one tree, and it almost becomes an advertisement for the store. But there's also a little bit of a competition amongst them to who can create the most beautiful Christmas tree. And of course, in different seasons, they've got different things set up. And right now it's flower season. Of course, being a shopping center, they've got to have things for sale. You can see here Omega watches, and they've got a very large multi-brand watch store here called Sublime. And actually in the window across, they've got Tag Heuer, and then Gucci and Breitling. So all of these Western brands that are not in Russia are really still here. Perhaps I'm just not the best at doing these artistic videos with beautiful shots and angles to show all the beauty of this flower display. Just the amount of work to bring these in here and prepare them for this particular time of year would be immense. Now, this is actually a 3-level shopping center, and they've actually got shops wrapped around the whole 2nd level and then part of the 3rd level, and even full-size trees as well. So you need to tell me, would you be willing to line up for maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes for an ice cream? Now, if you're only in Russia for a few days and there's a checklist of things to do, one of them is to come to have gum ice cream, and perhaps it's worth the wait. Let's have a look. Now, this is a longer line than my bus home tonight. Wow. I'm always calling these different walkways with the shops alleys, and they actually call them lines. So there's 3 lines that make up all of Gum. I'm always calling them alleyways. Beautiful. Gum is also very well known and famous for their supermarket right here. The supermarket number 1, I'm going to call it. And it runs the whole way down this 3rd line from one end to the other. Now, I've actually done quite a few different videos in there, so I won't walk in there for this video. Maybe briefly I will. Let's see. Tissot is definitely still here in Russia. They're part of the Swatch Group, which is a very well-known worldwide traded company. Swatch and Tissot are basically sister companies. Maybe we'll go upstairs and have a look at the view. Lots of people just enjoying the afternoon. Now, the other secret to Gum, especially if you come in winter, is it's a beautiful place to come and get warm on a cold day. And on a hot day, it's nice to come and enjoy the air conditioning. And this is the guy we need to talk to. The ice cream guy goes flashing by with his trolley of ice creams. He's probably the most hardworking guy in here today. I couldn't resist coming into the supermarket. I think a lot of people know that my channel is made up a lot of supermarket tours and shopping center tours. And they've got caviar here. And I can definitely tell you there is some very expensive jars of caviar. Now this is the black caviar, which is always considered the most expensive. However, this supermarket, I'm always curious how many people that might live locally that make this a place where they come shopping and come to buy something. Now my wife and I, if we would come here, it's mostly to find gifts or something that's unique that they have only in this place. Historically, this was well known that no matter if you couldn't find it in a supermarket in Moscow, you could come to this supermarket in Gum and the item would be available, particularly if it was not a Russian item, it was something maybe that was imported, and you could walk in here and find it on the shelf. Now, it's a very big store to cover. You've got to walk at least in a part of it, I think, and have a look. Maybe we want some bear or beaver meat. Yeah, there's some very fancy items in here, and then at the same time some very normal things as well. Some beautiful ready-made food. Now I'm hungry. And then we can see cheeses and different salamis as well. For me, one of the most amazing selections in this store is the alcohol and the amount of choices of different wines, champagnes, whiskies. It's really just staggering. Now, some of these you could buy at a local shop, but this shop has the selection to end all selections. Now, there isn't a lot of people in this part of the store. On a day like today, maybe you won't get necessarily people coming for wines or alcohol. Just have a look at the amount of choices that they have. It's just phenomenal. And then I think maybe for me, this is probably one of the best selections of wine in all of Moscow, maybe all of Russia. And they don't just have some of the expensive stuff, there is some more reasonably priced items as well. I wonder where the Australian wines are hiding. Maybe I'm getting a little carried away walking around. We came to see the flowers at Gum, and here I am showing all of the different cakes and breads and all of these treats. I'm getting a little too excited seeing food when I really come to look at the beautiful flowers. Amazing. I came back to this middle part because it seems to be crowded one minute and then empty the next. So they've got the famous Gum lemonade here as well. And then we can see the watermelons stored in here. And then the water fountain. And the guy over here selling all the cups of watermelons. I think once you come to this upstairs level, you get a good idea of the size of this place and just how big the roof structure is that they put over the top of these different lines, and just how beautiful the whole place is in general. It's also much easier to walk around this upstairs level as well. Everybody pretty much only sticks to that lower ground floor. And again, this is a active shopping center. I think there's probably about 100 shops, maybe more in here. And there's about 10 different restaurants that you can eat in. You can see where we walked earlier, the supermarket, and they've actually got their own cafe attached to it as well. On this upstairs level, this is the third level of the building. It's just like stepping into another part of the shopping center, or am I in the same place? And just how big this roof is And actually just how much warmer it is up here because of the sun coming through this glass roof. Beautiful. What a building. I've come back outside now and I thought I'd just take a brief walk around the area as I walk towards the metro station. And there's this point here which I call it mile marker 0, which denotes the center of Moscow. And everybody likes to come and get their photo here and stand here. And the other famous thing to do is to get a coin and toss it over your shoulder and make a wish. Now, of course, he's wishing for his team to win football tonight, or he's wishing for maybe his favorite dinner. And everyone has a different wish, of course. And it's a matter of standing here and then hoping that it'll come true. I think for us to get a little bit more of the flowers and the trees in the video, we'll walk through the temporary park that's been set up here by the Four Seasons Hotel and maybe get an understanding of how much they do when they host these types of events seasonally here in Russia. I've only walked literally 5 minutes from GUM, and you can see here the State Historical Museum. And then depending on when you come during the year here to the center part of this Manege Square, I think they call it, they've got different arrangements, and this one is dedicated to flower season. Now, the sun is not doing me any favors at all with the fact that all of the sun is just going off in the wrong direction. But they've got this very nice tropical garden set up, and with full-size palm trees, no less. And they've got all these little places where you can sit and have something to eat or just relax. And this is all completely temporary. I think perhaps this is set up for a few months. And how nice just to enjoy this very center of Moscow. We've also got some coffee stands and places to get snacks. Now, it is a little bit later in the afternoon, so the sun is completely not being my friend. Look at this gazebo that they built. Wow, beautiful spot. You can just sit down. There's definitely no requirement to buy anything or purchase anything. You can see the Four Seasons Hotel behind. And I think they might have a cooking demonstration going on. Lots of people showing some interest in this. Yeah, fun. It's just a nice afternoon to have a walk in the center of Moscow. And a lot of people like myself who live in Moscow region or, you know, a distance away from the center, this is the thing to do. Come into Moscow, find some of these different events that are going on, and just enjoy the day. And like any event when they hold them, there's always going to be people wanting something to eat. And they've got some different snacks. And the whole thing is these flowers and trees. I mean, where do they find palm trees in Moscow? There must be some palm tree guy that's very rich that's selling these to the local administration, or maybe he's just renting the palm trees. Maybe I can set up a palm tree rental company and just rent them to these festivals that they've got going on. There's different types of cactus and different trees that definitely wouldn't live out the Russian winter. And even these trees right in front of us, these would be more common in Australia than they would be in Russia. It's really such a contrast from the start of the video where we had those nice flowers everywhere. Then you come to something like this where it's very arid and dry, and it's almost desert-like with these cactuses. And this one almost looks like a plant that we have in Australia. I wonder if it is or not, or where they possibly get these from and bring them here, you know, just for a few months at a time. Such a nice location. They actually have one of the seafood stands here from a few months ago. I wonder if they've got different food set up specially for this event. And this one's called Moscow on the Wave. And they've got all different seafood from different parts of Russia. And what's really nice is they've got the actual menu in Russian, English and Chinese. So in case there's any Chinese tourists here, they can understand that a lemonade is still a lemonade. I've just come on top of the other shopping center in the center of Moscow here. This is a Khotny Ryad shopping center. It's completely underground. And this gentleman has got the exact perfect secret spot for a photograph. Now, he didn't have to move over, because I'm just showing it on the video. But this exact spot right up here, everybody's walking around on the cobblestones, and there's a spot on this upstairs level that you can get an exact shot of St. Basil's Cathedral. You can see that sloped walkway that leads up to Red Square, made very famous, of course, if you might have seen some of the Victory Day parades, where all of the military equipment parades up it. But this is the absolute secret spot for a photograph, if we stand exactly right here. We've almost reached the end of this video. Now, there is so much of Moscow that isn't on my channel, and so many places that I could walk to. I could basically make a never-ending video that would go on for hours, just keep showing the next thing, the next thing. And I think maybe a lot of people that come to Moscow don't notice this little park on the roof of this shopping center. And if you ever go in a Khotny Ryad and walk through, you'd actually see the dome from inside the shopping center, but would never know what's on top. And there's an entire 3-level shopping center underneath where I'm standing. You can see the State Duma just off in the distance, and then Four Seasons Hotel, and then we're back around to where the Kremlin is and the Historical Museum. And I've only walked from the start of the video to this point about 2 kilometers. Now, I've walked around the shopping center a few times, but literally from the starting point to where I'm standing, if you walked continuously, it would be maybe 30 minutes. And you can see so many things in one go, so easily. And have a look at this upstairs level here. Now, the sun is going in and out now, and maybe we'll get a bit of rain on the way home, I wonder. All the birds enjoying the afternoon. And then, again, just like me, coming for a walk around, enjoying the water fountains, meeting some friends, and just enjoying Moscow in the summertime, which I think really is ultimately what this video is all about. Even though I really wanted to see GUM, I mean, getting outside is also a good thing to do from time to time. Not everybody has to watch every video from inside a shopping center. Such a beautiful location. Just the amount of work that the gardeners have to do to keep these places looking as nice as they are, especially in the non-winter times like we're in now, and planting all these colored flowers Now this upstairs area here to me looks almost like an arid, dry zone. And I know over in Zaradi Park, where we pretty much started the video from, or nearby, that park's set up in different zones with different types of flowers and wildlife from different regions of Russia. And I think that's what they're trying to do on this upstairs area, and try to show different parts of Russia as you walk around these different flower and garden displays. So as we come to the end of the video, I really hope you've enjoyed this walk around here in the center of Moscow. Again, I've not traveled or walked that far. I mean, perhaps mostly inside the shopping center, where I went around a few times to get different filming spots. But you can come to the center of Moscow like this and see so much in literally half a day. And I've been out today about 6 hours in total from when I first arrived. My original filming location wasn't what I was expecting, so this is what I came up with, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments, perhaps you've been to Moscow and you know some of the locations where I've walked around. Maybe you've had ice cream in Gum before. Maybe you've just walked here in Alexander Garden. Yeah, if you want to follow me on Telegram, there's a link right now coming up. You can click that if you want to see my day-to-day life here in Moscow. And if you want to watch an old video on the channel, click this link. It's coming up now. And you can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.